I never thought losing an offer on a house would be equal to blessings worth $6.4 million. I lost 90% of my money following a YouTuber that suggested a stock pick. Not only this, I bought a car that pushed me back 1 year financially. If this was not enough, when I bought the right stock, I sold it way too early. It cost me more than 400% of gains. I was naive about committing these mistakes, but I decided to make this video so you can learn and do better. I'm going to share how these 5 key financial lessons put me on the right track to achieve financial freedom. Learning number 1 related to buying a house. While buying a house with a 30-year mortgage, 80% of your monthly payments in the first 10 years are just being paid to the bank to give you the privilege of staying there. If you have a 20% deposit for a $1 million home, you're paying 1.8 times its actual value. People buying the home have an argument that you're wasting your money paying rent. That is true, but if you put the difference of the amount you pay mortgage for the house you bought versus what you pay when you rent the same house, when you put that difference into the stock market, it will outgrow house appreciation massively. This is because buying a house has a lot of hidden costs, and the down payment which you could invest in the stock market would give a lot higher returns. Let me explain this. Let's take the example of $1.5 million home in California. If you pay 20% down, that will be $300,000. Monthly payment will come to roughly $8,626. This includes $1.2 million loan at 5.5% interest, which is a great interest to get at current times, plus property taxes and home insurance estimated at 1.45% of the home value annually. Home appreciation is around 4% every year. So the home value will be $4,865,000 after 30 years. Mortgage is paid off and you are left with your home. If you rent the same home, its rent would be around $4,600. If we assume a rent growth of 4% per year and you invest the difference of cost of living that was $8,626 versus $4,600 rent, in year 1 is $4,026 per month, and a principal amount of $300,000 that you had used for down payment. S&P 500 returns at average 10.2% annually. So our portfolio will grow significantly. After 30 years of compounding, our S&P 500 portfolio will be worth $9,835,177. If we follow same logic for $1 million home, whose rent is roughly $4,200 per month, this home will be worth $3.2 million. The S&P 500 portfolio after 30 years will be $3,084,000. So in this case, home appreciation 1. It's important to run the math if it makes sense to buy versus rent. This I had realized when I put an offer on the house and it got rejected. When I did this calculation, I did this math, I was relieved. I was relieved to a huge extent that our offer on the house wasn't accepted. Next, multiple learnings about investing in the stock market. I've been investing in the stock market for more than 5 years and have achieved returns better than the S&P 500. When I was in the first 2 years of investing, I followed a YouTuber in 2021 saying, buy APXT, it will double within the next 6 months. 2021 was a bullish year, so majority of the stocks were going up. What happened in 2022 was it fell down 80%. This happens with majority of the investors, and they lose trust in the stock market. They say the stock market is a gamble. I learned online, read books on investing and finance for fundamentals, watched YouTube videos. Stock market is a means of transferring money from the impatient to the patient. It is a long game. I learned to value businesses and I found palantir stock. I was convinced and bought it at $20. It went down to $6 or $7. I was convinced that it is highly undervalued based on its PEG ratio, its earnings in the coming years, and its business was sticky. So I bought more in 2024. It had gained more than 300% from my average cost and it seemed like a great win. I started listening to people saying you should diversify, you shouldn't put majority of your money in a few stocks. As a result, I sold it all when it was around $40. In retrospect, I should have only sold a portion of it since its earnings were accelerating. It still had room to run. I just took it out because I thought, wow, I've gained so lot. I should diversify. But if I had still kept the money, I could have achieved 400% more gains. The stock went up to $200. My biggest learning out of this was diversification is the biggest lie, holding me back and holding people back to achieving a life-changing wealth. Even 90% of the gains in S&P 500 are from top Mag 7 companies. If one doesn't have the time to research or find undervalued companies, it's good to invest in S&P 500. It's safe and gives around 10% annual returns. But if you know how to value businesses and are willing to spend the time to do your research and wait for 3, 4, 5 years for your returns, the stock market rewards you plenty. I bet next on AMD, and it has doubled since April 2025. It's more than doubled. I am expecting it to grow more in the coming years with the AI inference boom. The AI inference industry is supposed to triple within the next 5 years. AMD's data center revenue is projected to grow more than 60% for the next 5 years. If you want to see what I think AMD stock price will be in the next few years, watch this video. The final learning is about personal finance. After housing, do you know what people most spend on? Yes, it's a car. I made the same mistake. If you buy a $45,000 car on a 5-year loan, its total cost will come down to around a staggering $16,602 per year. This includes gas of roughly $2,000 per year, maintenance of around $1,000, insurance of $1,765 per year, auto loan payments around $10,500, then license, registration, taxes will make the total to $16,600. This number might seem small, but if you invest this much into S&P 500 annually over a span of 30 years, you'll make $3 million. If you compare it to a lifetime of 70 years, that's $130 million. It doesn't seem small now, right? This is the power of compounding, and it's small habits like these that will decide if you want to move in the direction of financial freedom or not. Rich Dad Poor Dad broke this down very simply. Grow assets, that's investments, savings, equity, emergency fund, learning new skills, and decrease liabilities, that credit card debt, loan, luxury goods, and pay yourself first, meaning skills and investments first rather than spending on goods, mortgage, and then not leaving anything to invest in yourself. If I could go back 5 years and talk to my 2021 self, I'd give him this letter. High interest debt is fire, put it out. Build an emergency fund, invest in yourself, invest in S&P 500 for safe returns, and focus on concentrated conviction plays like AMD, Palantir, which are highly undervalued and their industry is supposed to grow rapidly in the coming years. If you want to see how I find these high conviction plays that could 5x or 10x in the next 5-10 years, watch this video. It also has my forecast for AMD in the next 3 to 5 years. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys liked the video and hope you guys would learn from the mistakes I did. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. See you in the next one.